Thank you for joining us for a little bit of troubleshooting and customization. I know you all are very busy, and so we will do our very best not to go too long and also at the same time answer any questions that you might have. I am Tony, and I'm here with Becky. Say hi, Becky.
Hello.
And we are going to kick it off now. So we're going to start off with a little bit of troubleshooting. And since our last webinar, at least the one that I did on troubleshooting and advanced and what have you, we've got some new features. So I want to show you some of those as we run through this. All right, so I'm already logged in, and I'm logged into my test account. I happen to be the migration specialist helping customers migrate from our original platform over to our new platform. So you might see some migration stuff as we move through my test account. One of the cool new features that we have has to do with dynamic wrappers. Now, I know most people that are using dynamic wrappers are probably using it in WordPress. You don't have to. You can set up a dynamic wrapper outside of WordPress as well. And I'll show you both of the documents, the WordPress document and the non-WordPress document. But if you've already got the dynamic wrapper set up under Designs, Wrappers, and that thing just doesn't seem to be working for some reason, there's a couple of things that you want to do. The first thing you want to do is go to your Categories tab. Make sure there are no wrappers applied to specific categories that might be messing you up. And then go to your Pages tab. Do a quick little scroll. If there are any wrappers applied, you'll see a little icon next to that particular page. If you have anything that is there, keep in mind that page wrappers are going to override category and global, and category wrappers are going to override your global. So you want to troubleshoot at that section if that's where your problem is. I don't have any wrappers other than my global wrapper. It's not working. I need to know why. So we've added this little additional wrapper info tab. When you click on that, it is actually going to make a call out to the wrapper page itself. It's going to do a little thing called curl. Some of you might be familiar with that. Some of you might not be. That's okay. And when it curls the page, when it goes and grabs the code from the page, it's going to give you a response code. If you get a 200 OK, 200 OK means that we were able to go out, grab that page, curl it, and everything as far as communication is concerned is awesome. The next thing it's going to do is it's going to look for those IDX stop-start tags, and I'll show you what that looks like. Let's go to support, and I'm just typing in the word dynamic, and this is one of the documents I was telling you about. I'm going to go to Dynamic Wrapper Setup. This is the document that you can use if you don't have WordPress and you want to see if a dynamic wrapper is possible with whatever platform you're utilizing. Under step 2, you'll notice that it has these two little div tags. Those two div tags are what we look for to insert our content into your design. The additional wrapper info, it's going to look for those as well. If it finds them, then you won't see anything come back except the code of the page. If it doesn't find them or can't recognize them, it'll tell you that. So you'll know, hey, I got a 200 OK, but my stop-start tags aren't working properly. Maybe you have them in the middle of some other div tags. Maybe you've misconfigured them. It's up to you to figure out what's going on from there. If you can't, then definitely feel free to give us a holler over the phone or throw us an email. We'll take a look at it and see what's going on. So mine's coming back okay. I'm happy with that. I'm going to close that down. And then the next thing you do is just go to one of your pages. So under Designs, Pages, click any one of those pages, and you should see the dynamic wrapper wrapping that particular page. And there it is. That's my wrapper. One of the things to know about the dynamic wrapper is that we go out and grab the new design through our API every few hours. Well, what if you're in the middle of some heavy design work, you're changing menu items, changing the background of your website, what have you, and it's just not showing up? No worries. Under Design Wrappers, click Clear Wrapper Cache, and that will force us to go out and grab the new design. If for any reason that is not working, additional wrapper info kind of does the same thing. So if the clear wrapper cache doesn't do it for you, click additional wrapper info. That'll force the API to go out, grab that new design, and rewrap your pages. So cool new feature. I actually use it quite a bit in support, and it seems to do a pretty great job as far as I've seen so far. So that's really all there is to wrappers. I will mention one other thing, however. One of the things that we come across in support quite often is that something's not showing on the page right, or the wrapper is misconfigured. Maybe some of the images aren't coming through, like a header image, a background image. Fonts are looking screwy, what have you. If it's something having to do with a relative URL, then that's something you'll have to get into your platform, whether it be WordPress or whatever you're using, and you'll need to make sure that the wrapper page you're using is actually using fully qualified URLs. So that's what you see up here, and this is the IDX Broker side. But if I go to my home page, tonywp.idxbroker.com/whatever would be the fully qualified URL. So make sure you're doing that. Another thing I do often is if I'm doing some troubleshooting and I'm noticing that the wrapper is just not working properly, maybe there's something missing, maybe there's some JavaScript going screwy, I'll just go ahead and copy that address out of the URL and pop it into a browser by itself. That way I can see exactly what my platform is serving up outside of IDX. If it's messing up here, I know it's not an IDX problem. I know that it's a platform problem, and I need to go in there and fix it. One of the things that we do here quite often is troubleshoot minor JavaScript issues. Now, of course, if we see that it's a JavaScript conflict with one of your scripts, we don't have the power to fix that. That's on your side. What we can do sometimes, though, is we might be able to narrow it down to a specific script and then help you out with that. But if you want to troubleshoot that yourself, what we do is I go to View Page Source. I'll select all, copy that out. I will put it into something like Notepad. And what I'll do is, because I'm right from the wrapper page, I will look for IDX Start, find my Stop Start tags. I will split this right on the Stop Start tag. So just to give you an example, I'll bring that down, IDX Start. It looks like there's some article weirdness. The IDX Stop tag should be here pretty close. There it is. IDX Stop. And all I will do is just above the IDX Start, just below the IDX Stop, I'll take all of this code and I will put that, I'll show you, I'll switch over to static and I'll pop that into the static wrapper. That way I can start taking things out, like I can comment scripts out, whatever I need to do, play around with it in the static wrapper, figure out what the heck is going on, and then you can go in and update your actual platform page, whatever that might be. So that's a cool little pro tip that you can use for troubleshooting wrappers. And the nice thing is when you switch to the dynamic wrapper, anytime you switch back to the static, all your code will still be there. So it's not like you're losing anything. All right, saved links. I'm not going to spend a ton of time in saved links because I want to kind of get to some more new features that we've added and customizations. But one of the things that we run into with saved links quite a bit is customers will call and they'll be like, my saved link is all set up perfect. I'm missing some listings from it. Why on earth are these listings not showing up? So as far as troubleshooting saved links, I've created my awesome saved link here. So we'll open that up. All right, so I've got 45 results, and it looks like all of my results are in Agora Hills. So that's looking all pretty good. But what a lot of people don't realize, and this is a pretty big deal, and because we run into it quite often, when you're editing your saved link, let's say that I chose Acton as my area. It's not just going to filter down to Acton as far as remove any properties that have another area in it. It's also going to filter out any properties that may not have an area. So if you're filtering down to Acton and a particular property doesn't have an area at all, even though you know it's in Acton, it's not going to show up in your saved link. So one of the things you would want to do is you would find that particular property, and we'll just use this guy as an example. You would want to get the MLS ID of the property that is missing from the saved link. I'll tell you what, using the MLS ID for troubleshooting is huge. If you can get that, if you're not the realtor, you're the designer, you're the developer, what have you, and you're trying to troubleshoot a missing listing, whether it's missing from IDX Broker altogether, missing from a saved link, whatever, you want to make sure that you've got that MLS ID. So what I would do is the first thing I do is start a new search, go to my listing ID search, pop the listing ID in there, and first I'm going to find out if the listing is even in the system. All right, so we know the listing is in the system. If you don't find the listing in the system, there's a few questions you need to ask yourself as the realtor, or you need to ask your customer. One, how long ago was that listing put into the system? If it was less than 24 hours, then it's probably not going to show up. Now, we are working very hard on getting quicker updates. We're working on 12-hour updates, maybe even better than that in the future. But we're rolling that out MLS by MLS. It's a huge process, and we do have a few MLSs on there. If you don't know if yours is, then you can check the MLS status page for that, or feel free to throw us an email or give us a call and we can find out for you. But we do have over 600 MLSs in our system, so it's going to take a little time to get on that. So first question is, how long ago was it put in there? Well, less than 24 hours. Better wait till the next day, check it out then, see if it's showing up. The next question is whether or not your particular MLS system, and they're all different, has some kind of setting for IDX or for internet. If for IDX or for internet are settings that are available and they're not checked, it's not going to show up in the feed. So it's really important to find that out as well. Another thing to ask is whether the listing is still active. Right now, we don't get sold listings from our MLS boards. Another thing that we're working on in line with the 12-hour updates is getting sold data, but we don't get that right now. Little pro tip for you, understand that not all MLSs consider pending a sold status. So some MLSs bucket pending in the active status. So you'll need to know that as well. But if the property is not in an active status, maybe it's pending, which is in the active bucket in some MLSs. If it's not in active status, not going to show up unless you go in and manually set it from unknown to sold pending in the IDX control panel. So there's a few things that you want to find out before you even start messing around with troubleshooting any further into whether or not the listing should be showing up. If you mark all those, if you check them all off, everything seems to be good and the property is still missing from IDX Broker, then certainly give us a call. If it's a RET server, we can probably just make a direct query and see if it's sitting there in the feed and maybe something's going on our side. We can find out what's going on for you. But anyway, I've got the property here. I pulled it up, and the first thing I want to do is look for the field in the advanced fields that I'm filtering by. If I don't see the field here, we'll go back to my save link, and it's area. So here's area. I've got area. If the area is different, obviously it's not going to show up in your save link. But if area is missing, there's one of two reasons. One, you haven't added it to the details page yet, and I'll show you how to do that. Or two, area does not exist for that particular listing. So if you know you've added it to your details page and it's not there, then you know it's not a criteria for that particular property, and so it's not going to show up in your saved link. So real quick, I'm going to go to Designs, Pages, and we'll scroll down to Details, and you'll notice there's this Fields option for details. I will choose carrots because that's my MLS right now, residential. And yes, you do have to do this by property type because you can make it different for each property type if you like. If it's not added, I will find it in the right-hand column, simply click the plus sign, and it'll start showing up. And yes, you can drag and drop these around. You can move the containers. You can add new containers. Pretty heavy customization with the details page and the information that shows up. So the question was, how much control do I have over the searches and the data feeds layout? Okay. As a developer, you have a couple of options. Right now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the API, but I want to give a caveat to that. The API allows you to have full control over what data it provides. However, right now, it only provides featured listing data. So any listing that the agent or agents on the account are the primary listing agent will be fed through the API. With the API, you can do just about anything you want. You've got quite a bit of control there. So if you go to idxbroker.com, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see IDX Broker API. That is all of our API documentation. We're not going to walk you through programming the API and what have you. We can do some troubleshooting if data is not showing up in the API feed like it's supposed to. We're not going to troubleshoot necessarily your custom code, your custom PHP page, or whatever you're using to figure out why it's not functioning quite the way you want it. But as a developer, you've got this as a resource to do that. Now, outside of the API, the control that you have is this. One, and this is, I'm going to go from least amount of control to most control. The least amount of control, the smallest control factor, is you can always change the layout under Designs pages. So if I don't like the way my advanced search looks, I can click Edit under Layout, and I've got 6 different layouts for advanced search. Now the amount of layouts depends on the page that you're on. So I can always choose my template. Well, let's say the template I've got is not too bad, but I'd kind of like to do a little bit more with it. Go to Custom CSS, and you have full control over the CSS on the global level, categories level, page level, and if you are a Platinum customer, on the saved links level. So you can write all the CSS you want. And we'll get into CSS a little bit here when we get into some of the customizations. Now, the most control, and this is not supported through IDX Broker support personnel, but it's something you can do. If you go to Design Subheaders, all of our subheaders, the WYSIWYG can be turned off. When turning the WYSIWYG off, you can actually write custom JavaScript to the subheader of, or globally, of a category or of a page. So let's say I've got this, this advanced search page. It's looking pretty good. I've got the CSS the way I want it, but maybe with a little bit of JavaScript, I want to, I want to add some information. I want to put some stuff into a div that generally wouldn't be there. Whatever you can do with the power of JavaScript, you can do in the subheader of a page on IDX Broker. So while you don't have access to the HTML, and you don't have access to the core files, you do have quite a bit of control over how these IDX pages are going to display. Now I'll give you one more tip on that. Let's say, let me get to a search page here. We'll just do new search. Let's say I am just not happy with this advanced search. I want the fields in different places. I want, I just want to customize to my heart's content. Now, you don't have this kind of a control over a results page or a details page, but you do have the ability, if you like, and this is again not supported, you do have the ability to create a custom search page. Because our system uses the get method, which just means we append variables to the results URL, you can create a custom page hosted on your side that simply adds variables to the results URL. Now this is pretty advanced, so if you're a developer, you're totally probably tracking with me. If you're not, then contact your developer and just let them know that IDX Broker said they could create custom forms, but IDX Broker is not necessarily going to support that. If they're familiar with IDX products, they can probably figure it out. I'll give you a little example. I'm selecting 29 palms, clicking search. You'll notice up here in my URL, the results URL appended or has appended a string of variables. So I can call that from any form I want and append those variables. Most of it's pretty straightforward, like LP is low price, HP is high price, you've got the city code, per is how many you're going to show on that, and then you've got your sort order, and we don't have a full list of variables available for you, and so it would be up to you to start performing some searches to see what variables you want to utilize and what's available. Great question, and the question was no way to move divs around in the HTML output directly. Right now, no. I know, and I'm not going to give a whole bunch of detail here. I think they might be talking about it at the Developer Summit. You might want to check on that. But there might be something coming down the line having to do with that. Yes, I am not being very specific about that, but we'll see what happens at the Developer Summit and what we've got going on. One of the huge issues that we ran into for quite a while is we had a lot of people calling saying, I cannot click on the map pins on mobile, which of course, since everyone's moving to mobile right now, is horribly, horribly frustrating. Well, what we did is we actually created a brand new pin type, and that pin type works fabulously on mobile. Let me get to...
With the URL he was just showing us, if we figure out what those variables are, can we just get there by typing a URL without going through the search?
Oh, that's an awesome question. The answer is absolutely yes. However, let me give you a caveat. And this would be the same if you're creating your own custom form. Unfortunately, and this is not something we have any control over, MLSs love to change vendors, sometimes pretty often. And when I say vendor, I mean their data vendor, where we grab our data from them, where they put their data up for us to grab. When an MLS changes a data vendor, those variable names could change. So if you use what we call a custom link, which is what you're talking about, and let's go back to that and I'll show you what I mean by that. Now we'll do 29 palms and we'll do 5 bedrooms and just do a search. We'll keep that variable list short. All right, so I can take this URL and I can embed that anywhere on my website that I want to. It'll work just fine. However, if one of these variable names, which LP, HP, the common stuff, you don't really have to worry about that. It's the advanced fields that generally are problematic. If any of those change, your link could break. So if you notice a broken link, then you'll want to go do that search over again and see if that variable name changed. The nice thing about saved links is that the saved links are stored in our system on our side. So whenever there's a vendor migration, we actually go through and do a find and replace for all of the changed variables and saved links, and we take care of that for you. I would say it's better to use a saved link than a custom link, but if you want to use it, it'll definitely work. So here I've got my map, and by the way, if you ever want to troubleshoot mobile and you don't have your phone sitting, well, I don't know that you wouldn't have your phone sitting in front of you, but you don't want to do it on your phone, you want to do it on your computer, you can do !mobile on any of the IDX pages, and that'll switch you over to what's called the mobile wrapper view. And that's only if you're using the mobile wrapper. If you're using mobile templates like the mobile first stuff, you shouldn't be using the mobile wrapper. If your core website is not fully responsive, then you should be using the mobile wrapper. All right, so here we've got our regular, I'm just going to go back to the regular page. Here we've got our regular pretty little green pins, which by the way, you can customize that. We won't be getting into that. It's a little out of scope for today, but here we've got our little green pins, and as some of you might know, clicking on those bad boys on a mobile is sometimes nearly impossible. So, easy solution. Preferences, global preferences, map, and we have a new pin type here called price. So I'm going to save that and check this out. Refresh. And now you have a price pin that actually shows the price of the homes, and it's a little wider and much, much easier to click on mobile devices. And I know it's my opinion, but I just kind of think they're cooler looking anyway. So use the price pin if you're having any troubles. Use the price pin if you want something that's better looking. Use the price pin. It's cool. All right, so that's all on that section. On the mapping, another super cool feature that we've added is actually having to do with the maps on details. So I just logged into my dashboard. I want to change the pins. I'm going to go to Preferences, Global Preferences, Map, Pin Type. Pin type is where you have either the regular pin that we've always had, or you can switch it over to the price pin, which is just awesome. That's the way to go. And then save changes, and you are done. And you might notice that on my map, you see these little numbers with plus signs. That is because I have pin clustering turned on. If you don't have that and you think it's super cool, in the same section, at the bottom, under pin clustering, choose enabled, save changes, and your pins will cluster as well. So you can see I can click on the 3 and it pops in, expands it out. I can click over here on this one, it'll pop to that. So pretty cool little feature, and seems to work pretty awesome on mobile as well. So moving away from the map search page, getting a little awesome with the map search on details pages. Let me actually get to a details page. All right, so I put my walk score map above everything. If you do price pinning and clustering together, we've seen that seems to work pretty awesome. If you notice that the map clustering is still problematic, throw us an email so we can look into it a little bit further. Maps are ever changing, and it's an ongoing thing, and mixing maps and mobile is never an easy thing. So the more input we get from our customers, the better for sure. Walk score, ugly, small, doesn't fit the width of my design. We have changed quite a bit there. If you go to details and go to the default walk score view, you can switch to street view, something that we've been getting asked for quite some time. We now have it. Not only that, but I can choose to percentage, pop that over to 100%, and now, instead of this ugly little thing, I've got, so full width, street view walk score on your details page. Pretty awesome feature. Now, like I said, we've been getting asked for that. We don't support custom CSS. We don't write custom CSS. We don't troubleshoot custom CSS. Sometimes we will go a little above and beyond to help you out if it's something pretty quick, but that is not part of the support. If you need help with custom CSS, definitely check out our developers. idxbroker.com, developers, search. We've got some pretty amazing developers that can help you with some custom CSS. All right, something that I've been getting asked about quite a bit in my calls for people, and this is WordPress specific, we're not going to spend a lot of time here, is how on earth do I get your omnibar to sit in the header of my design? Now I'm going to give you the caveat here. This is not supported. However, I want to show you how to do it. If it doesn't work for you, contact a developer. If you're the developer, do a little searching on the WordPress docs. If it does work for you, awesome. It's actually pretty quick and easy to do. So all I had to do to get my Omnibar sitting in the header of my WordPress website is go to Appearance, Editor. Now my stuff is a little bit different here because I'm using an equity theme, and so I need to switch off of the child theme over to equity. You're going to choose whatever theme you're using. You're going to go to the header.php file. Whatever the name is, the actual file is called header.php. Super simple. This one line of code here, all this does is put a PHP line in, echo do shortcode, and then my shortcode. If you search the web for header PHP and shortcode, you will find this all over the place. But I wanted to show you that it's that simple and that quick to get your Omnibar or any other item that uses a shortcode into the header of your design. So that gives you a little bit more customization capability when you've got that theme and that theme doesn't necessarily have a widget area in your header. You can go take care of that yourself. So it looks like we're running a little long on time, and so I am going to wrap it up. I want to show you one other thing real quick. This is pretty cool. Save links manage. Check it out. Again, custom CSS, not supported. Have to say it, but I know we've been getting a lot of questions. Why can't I have a hot sheet? Well, you can, but you got to do it yourself. I'm sorry. However, I'll throw this out to you. One, I used Content 2 to make this happen. Content 2 is the template of the results page. And 2, under Designs, Custom CSS, and this is only available on Platinum because you have to apply the custom CSS to a saved link. There's my code. If you want my code, email me. I'll give it to you. I'm not going to troubleshoot it for you, but I will give it to you if you're developing. Have at it. Enjoy. If it doesn't work for you, I'm really, really sorry, but I think it might. Give it a shot. I've had a lot of fun talking to you guys about some of these cool customizations that you can do. If you have any questions, anything that's outside the scope of support, contact your developer. If you're using an IDX developer partner, they're super awesome. Contact them. If you have any issues or need help from us, help@idxbroker.com. We're happy to help you out in any way that we can. And this is Tony and Becky.
Bye.
Signing off. Have an awesome day.